On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com. Or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A son's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the window, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's the one I want you to know. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If they wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
I'm Tavis, Smiley. Delighted to have you with us in this hour of our program. As promised in this hour, two conversations on the backside of this hour. Billboard charting gospel artist and author Tony Evans drops by to talk about his new project, Revive. Look forward to that conversation with Tony Evans on the B side of this hour. We commenced this hour with Dr. Somava Saha, the CEO and president of Wellbeing and Equity, for a chat about a new health equity initiative called Justice Squared, aimed at abolishing structural racism in healthcare. Dr. Saha, good to have you on the program. How are you today?
It's such a pleasure to be with you, Tavis. Thank you for having me.
It's my honor to have you. Let's make the most of the few minutes that we do have here. First of all, tell me about Wellbeing and Equity.
Well-being and equity in the world is about the idea that we need many of us to come together to create a fair system that works for everyone. And that means we have to be really honest about how the system is unfair for people of different racial groups, for people of different economic groups, et cetera, and to create a level playing field. But what we do to do that is to bring together people who all have a piece of the puzzle about what that takes to do that, and say, how do we bring our assets together to change the systems in practical ways?
Yeah.
So that
These days I'm not so sure I know what fair is. I mean, I believe in I believe in fundamental fairness, and yet we're in a political moment right now. I see things happening every day that seem so unfair, and yet one of our guests and I were just discussing the fact a new CBS poll finds that 53% of us, so a majority of us, still believe that Donald Trump hasn't gone too far as yet. I'm not trying to make you political. My point is that I don't see our present political system moving in a way that represents anything near what I would call fundamental fairness. That's just me. So when you say that your work in Witness is about trying to create a fair system, unpack that fair word for me, a fair system. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, that's a great question. To me, everybody should have a fair chance at a good life, have access to good health care, schools, jobs. It's some of the very things you talked about in your book about the covenant with Black America, and that every person, every child, every person deserves that in the wealthiest country in the world. And that to do that, we need to rebuild our social contract with one another. We need to be able to help each other see why this, even though people can be nice to one another, that's not the same as having a fair playing field. I heard you all talking about this, the Super Bowl. It'd be as if like one part of the field was tilted up, was up. It was on the slope, and you were playing, and we were pretending that it was all about the people and what they could do and overcome. But there's a fundamental structural unevenness or inequality to that field that makes it much harder for one group to have just a fair chance.
Yeah, I find myself saying from time to time, and you're right about the fact, Dr. Saha, that the U.S. is the richest country in the world, richest nation in the world, and yet I have to underscore that like 5 times. So we're not just the richest right now; we are the richest country in the history of the world. So it's not like this thing sort of ebbs and flows. We are the richest nation in the history of the world, and yet fundamental fairness does not seem to be at play in any aspect of American life, certainly not when it comes to health equity. So when we come forward, we'll talk for a few more minutes about what that means, specifically about this new health equity initiative called Justice Squared, which might help us gain some traction in terms of abolishing the structural racism that we know exists in our healthcare system. You're listening, and I'm glad about it, to Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is an ad by BetterHelp Online Therapy. When it comes to relationships, we often hear about the red flags we should avoid, but it's just as important to focus on the green flags. Think about how you want a relationship to feel, one where your boundaries are respected and you're encouraged to be your best self. If you're not sure what that looks like, therapy can help you identify those qualities so you can embody the green flag energy yourself and find it in others. Because whether you're dating, married, or building a friendship, it's time to form relationships that love you back. BetterHelp connects you to a diverse network of over 30,000 therapists worldwide with expertise in a wide range of issues, from depression and anxiety to work and relationships. It's 100% online, and sign-up only takes a few minutes. Find your green flag energy with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/ABC Radio today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ABC Radio.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Dr. Samava Saha, who is the CEO and president of Wellbeing and Equity, talking about the lack of fundamental fairness that exists in our healthcare system, specifically a program called Justice Squared that might help us make some progress abolishing some of the structural racism in healthcare. Talk to me then, Dr. Saha, about Justice Squared.
You know, you were saying just a little bit ago, Tavis, that 53% of people still don't see that things are not fair, even today. And I think that's a fundamental part of the problem we have to solve. So what Justice Squared does is it starts with an understanding that racism is like the air we breathe, the water we swim in. We're so used to it that if you're experiencing it on the wrong end, you feel it all the time. But if you're not, it just is what you think of as normal. And so what Justice Squared does is help take the things that we take for granted, that's what I think of as invisible, and make them visible. It helps you understand where there's racism in your healthcare system that you didn't even know was that because you were so used to it, or where we've embedded in measure race in a way that's creating harm. Through, for example, in how we choose who gets a kidney transplant, where we decide to put a new hospital building or a new clinic. Those are all processes and algorithms where race or a proxy of race or class or other factor that could cause structural inequities. We just do those things because it's what we've always done. And we don't think twice about it because it's what we think of as normal. It helps us to see it and then together to be able to understand where things are going wrong and then to change those structures and systems using our collective power and assets across healthcare and community leaders together.
Tell me more then about how Justice Squared does that. I hear the task. How do we accomplish that through this program called Justice Squared?
So first, it supports a team of people, of leaders within healthcare to work together with communities experiencing injustice in the healthcare system to come together, to begin to see the system together. One of the best ways, and then it really takes them on a journey. It gives them resources to do this work at a time where that's badly needed, by the way. But it also gives them a guided journey where it actually helps them first see the system using the stories of real people and the data from within their own healthcare walls to begin to see where the system is going wrong. And then instead of just measuring race and differences in outcomes by race, it challenges them to develop measures of racism of where the system is intentionally or unintentionally marginalizing people and keeping some people out. And then it challenges them with shared accountability with the community to change that. For the other half of people, it looks at where is race being used or a proxy for race or other structural inequities being used in the way in which you make decisions, and it takes it out of those systems.
Yeah, we're living in an era right now. I don't need to tell you this. You know it far better than I. And this is nothing new, but it is on steroids right about now in the era politically that we find ourselves. But there are folk who will come after you for just collecting data. We haven't even gotten to diversity, equity, and inclusion, but just collecting data based on race will get you in trouble. How does that impact the work that Justice Squared does or intends to do?
Well, we are entirely aware of that. And, in a country that believes in everything from the right to free speech to the right to own I believe we should have the right to own our own data. We've always believed that everyone should have the right to be able to see the truth for themselves and to make their own decisions. That means they should be able to collect whatever data they need to be able to see their reality. But what's really unique about Justice Squared is it contends with a current context. By challenging people to not just measure race, but actually measure racism, and on the other hand, where race has been put in, it actually turns that Supreme Court decision on its head by by actually challenging healthcare systems to remove race and proxies of race where that's been embedded in. So it actually meets the moment and shows how even in this context you can deepen your journey to address structural racism, even as you're building collective leadership, meaning in any one of these healthcare systems, there might be 60 to 85 people that are involved in the process of Justice Squared, where they really build the literacy of people who might not be our frontline community organizers, but have a whole lot to play. Healthcare today is a sixth of our economy. So if you could get a major part of our economy to own and be accountable for where it is perpetuating structural inequities, even though almost every person I know who goes into healthcare, I'm a doctor, but I know countless people. I remember I kept waiting to find that CFO or that COO or that person who was surely somewhere in there that was like waking up every morning and going, I can't wait for more people to be homeless, or I can't wait for Black women to die more. And you know what? Most people who go into healthcare, they're really nice people who go into it because they care about people. But they've inherited a system and are now actively perpetuating a system where we are harming people. Yeah. And if our calling is to first do no harm, we have to take accountability for where we are creating harm, and we need to take responsibility to change that. And the people who can help us to do that are community members who are experiencing inequities, because in their stories, we can see the story of our system. And by seeing the story together, both from what we know and what they know, we can see the system and change the system.
I am all for challenging healthcare systems or any other systems where there is racism that's baked in. I suspect, as I think about it, that'd be most of our systems in this country. I digress on that for now.
That's right.
Yeah, but I'm all for challenging these systems. I guess the question is, and the older I get, or I don't like the word old, the more chronologically gifted I become. Let's use that. The more chronologically gifted I am.
I love that.
Yeah, I wonder whether or not it is possible to change these systems from the outside. And I know that Justice Squared has part of its components, a cooperative, collaborative arrangement. Well, whether it's the healthcare system or our system of policing or anything else, I just don't know that we can fix these systems, challenge these systems from the outside, which is a long way of asking, one, whether you agree with that, and number two, what complicity the healthcare industry, the system itself, has in this problem.
Yeah, I actually think it's not possible to change these systems only from the outside in. In fact, it requires change from the inside out. And it's often good to have the accountability from the outside in. So I think healthcare, like many other sectors, I won't say all, but many other sectors, is both sometimes wittingly, but often unwittingly engaged in a process of perpetuating structural racism. And I think what's powerful about Justice Squared is it builds the change from the inside out. In order to be part of Justice Squared, healthcare systems have to put together a team just to apply. And they have to get their senior C-suite people to agree to take on structural racism in healthcare and to be accountable for improving themselves. And, you might have said no one's going to sign up for that, but actually, Tavis, 217 healthcare organizations registered and 110 successfully applied. And that was on January 15th.
That's impressive.
And in fact, many of those systems had to have their executives agree to put upfront money, to put matching amount of $100,000 to match the grant that we would give them. So they were not just, and to commit to have the time of senior leaders and team members freed up to be able to do this work and to do this in partnership with communities.
Yeah, those numbers are impressive, and I'm glad to hear them, because part of what concerns me perennially in this country is that we scarcely believe, I think, in equality. We talk a good game about equality, but we scarcely
Yeah.
believe in it. And I could, if I had the time, give you a litany of reasons why I believe that. But if we can't get to equality sincerely, um, we certainly aren't ready for an equity conversation. Equity, this notion of meeting people where they are, and particularly when those persons oftentimes happen to be persons of color and the poor. So tell me why I should believe that we can ever approach, literally approach real equity in healthcare.
Oh, that's easy because I've seen it happen over and over again.
Right.
My whole career has been spent watching, and I will tell you that in this country, even as we have all the places where there's injustice, there are stories of real change that are growing and building. A health system I had the pleasure of being part of at Cambridge Health Alliance, we were able to show that by creating equity, by growing and trusting in the leadership of those who, and growing a workforce of people from the populations experiencing inequities and giving them real leadership, we could move health outcomes for over 100,000 people above the national 90th percentile. In our work in the last 3 years in the pandemic at We in the World with our Communities Rise Together partners, we were able to show in 1 in 3 counties across the country that we could that the people who are closest to the grounds, if they had and were trusted with the resources they need, they could put 195,000 birthdays back while having a 30-to-1 return on investment. And so what those show me is it's possible to change the system in a way that not only creates better health, but also creates greater wealth for our communities, because we're not spending money in the wrong places too far after the fact, treating someone when they're lying of a gunshot wound or lying from premature diabetes on our emergency rooms and in our operating tables and our hospital wards. We're giving them the supports they need to have a good life. And in doing that, we actually go from a system now which is unjust and where we stand up programs to do a little bit for them when they're so in need that we feel it inspires our charity, to one in which we can all be strong and in liberation together. And that's what real health and well-being means to me.
Yeah.
As a doctor.
I hear that, and I think we both agree though that charity and justice aren't the same thing.
They are not.
Yeah.
And that's what Justice Squared really challenges people to do.
Right.
That's what all of our work at We in the World is actually about, shifting from charity to having over half our efforts not just meet people's needs today through charity, largely charity efforts, instead to really build a just system to make sure our communities that were redlined or otherwise marginalized or in rural communities have the vital conditions they need, all of them, so that people have access to good jobs and good education and good health and well-being. It turns out if we do that, we stand to save a lot of money as a country.
Yeah. Speaking of saving money,
because that would actually, yeah.
No, that would. I'm finishing your point. That would actually what now? I'm sorry. That would actually.
So that would actually save a lot of money in healthcare costs and reallocate them to better care.
Yeah.
And better life for people.
Yep. Speaking of saving money, vis-a-vis healthcare costs, it would help if you had a secretary of HHS. That you see where I'm going. Who actually believed in healthcare equity. Again, not trying to make you political, but this is the news of the hour. RFK Jr., last I checked, had been voted out of committee. Unless I missed it over the weekend, I don't know that he's been confirmed as head of that department as yet. But how would his ascent aid, abet, complicate the work that you do?
Well, I don't know if he's listening out there, but what I would say is what he cares about is actually chronic disease. And if you look at chronic disease outcomes and you want to have fewer people having poor chronic disease outcomes like diabetes and heart disease, what you would do is correct for structural racism before the fact. It turns out that a child born in a area of persistent poverty or concentrated poverty has a 40-fold higher risk of developing heart disease or diabetes. Everything I can do for them by counseling, education, all of that, all the things that RFK talks about now might reduce their chances or improve their chances by twofold versus 40-fold if they're growing up experiencing the toxic stress of poverty. And that's just an impact in health. It has nothing to do with it. That doesn't even count the impact on, hopelessness and other illnesses, of joblessness, of other challenges of growing up in areas. So what I would say is, if RFK Jr. wants to go and tackle chronic disease, I would start with the communities that have the highest burden of chronic disease, which are communities that have experienced inequities. And I would work with those communities to make sure that people are stabilized all along the lifespan. And if we did that, we would create and invest in good schools, good jobs, and good health care in those communities.
Yeah. Dr.
So
Saha,
what we call the vital conditions.
yeah. Dr. Saha does not need a job. She has a couple of them. But she could be an ambassador. That answer was brilliant in the way that she laid it out. She said what she needed to say and avoided what she didn't need to say. And I got a smart audience. They picked up on that. Asking a question about RFK Jr. in a moment like this could put one in some hot water, but she handled it brilliantly, and her answer is exactly what RFK Jr. needs to hear. She's the CEO and president of Well-Being and Equity in the World. Also last year elected as the board chair of the National Council of Aging. Dr. Saha, an honor to have you on this program. Thank you for your work and witness. I appreciate your time. All the best to you.
I appreciate you and everything you do, Tavis. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I'm Alexandria Ikamoni with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Chinese tariffs on some American goods are in effect as of this morning, as President Trump continues to threaten trade wars with allies and rivals alike. Leaked government documents say large-scale immigration enforcement is coming to Los Angeles. While immigration enforcement has been ramped up across the country, no sweeping act has been taken in Los Angeles yet. All of the plane and military helicopter wreckage has been removed from the Potomac River following the recent mid-air collision near Washington, D.C. that left nearly 70 dead. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is temporarily shutting down live poultry markets after bird flu was detected in New York City. The Eagles are celebrating their second Super Bowl win in franchise history. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Lakers Nation is hoping tonight is the night Luka Doncic makes his debut in a Lakers uniform. The Lakers are at home against Utah. Doncic has not played since Christmas Day when he suffered a strained calf muscle. Ricky Dalton Connect and Cam Reddish are back with the Lakers after the NBA rescinded the Lakers trade with Charlotte. Charlotte center Mark Williams failed the Lakers physical. The UCLA women's basketball team is 23-0 after their 62-52 win Sunday at Oregon. Guard London Jones led UCLA with 21 points. Next up for the Bruins, ranked number 1 in the country, a Thursday night showdown at number 7 USC. The Philadelphia Eagles made sure the NFL does not have a three-peat Super Bowl champion. Philadelphia put a beatdown on the Kansas City Chiefs Sunday in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes was sacked 5 times. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Love your baby's teeth. Before that first tooth, wipe their gums with a washcloth. When those first teeth come in, use a soft toothbrush and just a tidbit of toothpaste and take them to the dentist by their first birthday. Learn more at loveyourbabiesteeth.com. Brought to you by the LA County Department of Public Health.
Are you a recent college graduate with a dream of getting a high-paying job in sales? A job where you can grow a lucrative career in multi-platform audio, digital, podcast, social media, and local events, along with world-class training and career growth opportunities. KBLA Talk 1580, located in historic Leimert Park, is currently hiring entry-level account executives for outside sales. Join a team featuring radio hosts Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornell West, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, Dr. Nee Cordelai-Corte, Zoe Williams, and our very own Dominique DePrima. For more information on attending our upcoming career fair, contact SMB at KBLA1580.com today.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
I got joy that's got me dancing in the morning. I got hope that takes the dark clouds away. Feeling free, 'cause I know that I'm accepted. I am loved, I'm redeemed. I got peace, it goes beyond understanding. I can't see your mercy never runs dry. Oh yeah, that your love will never fail me. I believe you will always be.
I'm Tavis Smiley, and that is Anthony Evans. The track is called All I Need. Billboard charting gospel artist and author Anthony Evans joins us in the studio now. I was saying to Anthony a moment ago that I was just teasing some friends of mine, some friends the other day about this. I have a number of friends who happen to have been born into families with parents who are rather well known. And Anthony Evans is the son of the renowned Dr. Tony Evans. So what's your story, man? Every one of y'all have one. A story of growing up in a house.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
where your parents were somebody, as Jesse Jackson would say.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm
pleasure,
glad to be
man.
here
My
with you in person. Growing up, I had to realize, it took me a minute, that God doesn't have grandkids. Like, you are not grafted in because of who you're connected to.
Yeah.
So when I came to that reality, it was when I left for college, where I had a real awakening of your environment that you've grown up in has nothing to do with your specific relationship with the Lord. And I had to start building at ground zero, but thankfully I had a lot of tools to build because my parents were intentional with the pressure. They would hear somebody say, "Are you going to be just like your dad?" And when they would walk off, they would be like, "You know, you don't have to be just like your dad." They would do that all the time because they didn't want to be a part of me buckling under the pressure to be a professional Christian, which is that's kind of a weird situation anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
When did you come to appreciate all that your parents were doing to sort of shield your father specifically, to shield you from that?
It was actually more my mother specifically.
Wow.
Yeah. It
Okay.
was because my mother was keenly aware of those nuances, like very emotionally, her emotional intellect was very high. So she was keenly aware of those moments of shielding us, because my dad was moving a mile a minute because he was building a whole situation. And so they both were, but she was more like on the lookout. So as I get older, every year that passes by, I figure out another thing they were doing that I was not aware of, another nuance. I feel very beyond blessed. Blessed is not a big enough word when it comes to how I feel about being raised by Dr. Tony and Dr. Lois Evans.
Yeah.
And that ain't got nothing to do with the ministry and them on stage. It has to do with what we deal with at home.
Yeah. When you in a situation like that, how did you, again, every one of my friends who's in this situation, and let me just be clear, I am grateful that I was not. I am grateful that the world didn't know Joyce and Emery the way I know Joyce and Emery, because it gave me some space to figure out who Tavis needed to be, how I wanted to show up in the world. I didn't have the burden of the world knowing my parents. And me sort of being seen as in their shadow. How did Anthony go about finding his own voice?
You know, I just took intentional steps toward developing my own relationship with the Lord. And as trite as that sounds, I learned the art of when you do what you can, God will do what you cannot. And there'd be moments where I could not figure it out, but I would just do what I could, and God would meet me and start building my own specific story with him. And whether you have influential parents or not, that's just how he works. Like, he magnifies your effort. I remember, just real briefly, when I was growing up, I played Little League Baseball, and I was striking out all the time. My dad one time, though, walked up behind me and grabbed the bat around me. And all of a sudden, I was Babe Ruth. I was hitting everything. I was knocking everything out of the park because my dad wrapped his arms around my circumstance, and the impact was greater. So what I've realized is that the Lord doesn't want us to stop swinging and walk off. He wants us to allow him to grab our circumstance around us, and then the impact becomes way different than when he wasn't involved.
Yeah.
That's how it changed for me.
How did music then become your muse? I know you have 3 siblings.
Yes, 3 siblings.
You're the only one in the music business.
Yes.
But they're all doing remarkable work. But you're in music. How did that become your muse?
My parents. My parents heard me singing around the house and were like, "Wait a minute, did we miss something?" Because I was kind of quiet. I wasn't into trying to be on stage. And then they started to perpetuate. Like, Perpetual Motion started when they figured out I could sing. My dad started making calls, and I ended up on stages like, how did I end up here? I don't even want to be up here. But the feelings, my dad would always say this. He's like, "Anthony, your feelings will follow your feet. When you walk in a direction that you've been given a gift in, your feelings about wanting to do it will follow the action." So
your feelings will follow your feet.
Yes.
That's a great line.
Yeah, it is. So that's what happened. I started to walk in the direction of when I was 18 years old. And then it grew to Kirk Franklin hearing me sing at our church. He was like, "Yo, come sing with me." And I thought, he don't mean that, you know. But then, sure enough, he released the Rebirth album. And that's where the love came, when I started traveling with Kirk in the years of Brighter Day and Hosanna and running around the world, literally to sing those songs with him. I was like, I could do this. You know what I mean? It was a good time.
Talk to me about Kirk. I love that little Negro, and that's what I call him. Yeah. I said, "What's up, little Negro?" And he always has some retort for me, of course.
Yeah.
You know, he's never short on words.
Never.
As you well know. But just say a word about his gift and about his stature, about his place in gospel music as we know it.
Yeah, having that personal experience with him, he taught me about the reality. He used to say to me, Anthony, there are 23 hours of a day that we are not on a stage. And what are you doing during those 23? Because the hour on stage is a reflection of the 23 off. So he taught me about life off of the stage and what that was about. And we go have the fun moments doing the songs, but he actually taught me about the resource I have in my father, because I watched him pursue my dad for 25 years and have a relationship of growing in just spiritually growing as he pursued my dad. And he's my dad, so I'm not sitting down and talking to him every day like that. But Kirk will look me in my face and said, you have this wealth of knowledge sitting on the other side of your phone or in your same house, man. You gotta engage in that. So that's what he's taught me over these years. I mean, he's a bonus brother at this point. Yeah.
Tell me how, and this isn't a softball, I'm curious because every artist you ask this question will give you a different answer. How do you see your music as ministry?
Yeah, the whole point, my music is a tool by which to engage hearts toward a relationship to Christ. I don't look at the music for the sake of hits and the sake of the industry side of this is actually exhausting when you start really chasing that, because you chase something that changes every 5 seconds. It has a different opinion, different thought. So my objective is to use all the tools I have. I actually engage with audiences live and figure out what works, and just use the music as a tool for them to feel encouraged when I leave the room. And then when that encompasses the worship, so it's just different. It's not static and all industry driven, which is again exhausting.
Yeah. I want to talk when we come forward here about this new project, Revive. We'll get into that. And I'm always fascinated by any artist. I love artists, as this audience knows. But the gospel genre is obviously uniquely different than other genres. I got some questions in that regard that I want to ask our guest. Glad to have him in studio is Anthony Evans, son of that other Tony Evans, a Billboard charting gospel artist in his own right, producer and author. His new project is called Revive. We'll talk about it and play some more music from it for you when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I have a dream today.
The road to freedom wasn't paved with just big moments. It was built day to day, step by step, voice by voice. This February, experience Black History Month through the stories that shape Los Angeles and beyond. KBLA Talk 1580, where Black history lives.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
He's a paradigm pioneer and the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me shaking. I've never been more glad I put my faith in Jesus, 'cause he's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would he fail now?
Anthony, tell me about this track.
One of my friends, his name is Mr. Chandler Moore, and he is one of the most prolific writers that I know. And I just I love recording songs that I love to sing. So that's it. He wrote the song, it's my friend's song. So I went in the studio, did this crazy arrangement that you're playing right now. And I love it. I love these songs work live, and I love being able to sing them.
Turn it up, Miles.
I'm not held, 'cause I bet my life on Jesus, and he's never let me down. Oh, so why would he fail now?
When you say, Anthony, that these songs, this one in particular, works live, I think I know what you mean by that. When you say it works live, what do you mean by that?
I mean, the audience engages. I'm not there to entertain people.
Yeah.
I'm there to engage hearts, and that's gospel music. That's what makes it different, and that's what I mean.
Yeah. You're onto something here now that I want to probe here. You are an artist.
Yes.
When you do concerts, people buy tickets. They want to see you, and in our vernacular, they want to be entertained. They're paying to see you to be entertained. But I hear you saying that's not what your end and aim is when you're on the stage. For you, it's not about entertainment. But talk to me about that.
It's not about entertainment because I've chosen gospel music.
Yeah.
I feel like if you choose this kind of music and you are strictly there to entertain, you've missed the point. Go do something else. Go sing R&B, which is fine. Go do that.
Yeah.
But I don't believe, that the objective should be ticket buyers being entertained. No, we're conduits. Like that's the objective of a gospel artist, I believe, is to be a conduit by which the Lord does what he does best, which is take one song and divide it up 1,500 different ways and speak individually to people in the room.
Yeah.
Now, excellence is a part of that, and that's where tickets come in, because you had to get bands and singers and hotels and all this stuff, but that's where that ends to me.
Yeah. I was talking to a number of them lately, comedians, and for some reason I found myself in a variety of conversations of late with comedians about the dark nature of comedy right now. And everybody has an opinion about that, about where comedy is. I'm raising that because I want to pivot, of course, to gospel music and get your take on where you think gospel music is right now. What are you making of the trajectory of gospel music?
I think gospel music, with I'm careful with my words, it has become more of a novelty. It's kind of like nostalgia is connected to gospel music now, not current, which is very interesting to me. People look back, or they love to come to the reunion tours. Like I was out on that tour with Kirk and the Clark sisters and Yolanda and Fred and Marvin. They love to hear it, but they love to hear it to me in a nostalgic way versus a current way. And that's what we're working on. The industry's changed so much. So our objective now, to me, is to move with the times and create, not compromising a message. Don't hear me wrong.
Sure.
Move with the times and creating a new version of gospel that fits what the current culture is wanting, with its authenticity, vulnerability, transparency. They don't want facades ever. Not saying that that's what gospel music is, but now with your phone, you could see behind the scenes in everybody's life. They want gospel music to feel like that.
Yeah.
Like, give me real, give me authentic, and then maybe I'll listen.
How does that impact then the lyric of the stuff you sing? You see my point?
Yeah, I do understand. Yeah. It's a very such a strategic formula you have to use when doing lyrics that aren't compromising a message but being real at the same time. I think it calls all the artists and writers, including myself, to write from a different place. It's not a place, it's not an anecdotal place. It is just a place of authenticity and vulnerability, which can be hard because you're telling your business in these songs.
Yeah.
But that's what the audience wants to know and hear.
Yeah.
Are you like me?
His latest project is called Revive. He is Anthony Evans, Billboard charting gospel artist. Glad to have him in studio when we come forward. In our remaining moments with him, we'll give you some dates where you can actually see Anthony Evans and talk about one or two of these books he's written. This brother's a busy man, but he slowed down long enough to give us 30 minutes, and I'm glad about it. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
My house was built on you, with you.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at WalkGoodLA. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Kadeen and Deval Ellis for P&G Good Every Day.
Babe, guess what? We can save big on all our favorite P&G brands like Tide, Cascade, and Febreze. Plus, support great causes every day.
Wait, hold up. You telling me we can save money and feel good about it? How?
Well, remember how Granny and Big Mama used to save money by cutting those coupons out of Sunday papers? Now we just go to pggoodeveryday.com, sign up for P&G's free rewards program, and get exclusive coupons.
Okay, so we can get VIP status and save money.
Exactly. We stock up on the P&G products so you, the boys, and I are good every day, just like our folks did for us.
Well, you better go visit pggoodeveryday.com right now, because you got to go buy some detergent and toothpaste and toilet paper.
Me?
Yeah, you. And with all that extra cash, I got to go buy these new sneakers.
It's okay, funny man. You got jokes. Boy, focus on these savings first.
Visit pggoodeveryday.com.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
I got 3 or 4 minutes left here with gospel artist extraordinary Anthony Evans. His latest project is called Revive. Anthony and I were just talking during the break a moment ago, and I was saying to him, quoting one of my friends who calls them 7-11 songs. These songs, to my mind, he's laughing already. These songs are hegemonic. to my chagrin. They're hegemonic in the praise and worship space these days.
Right.
My friend calls them 7-11 songs. 7 words that you repeat 11 times. That is not a song with 3 or 4 verses that builds and tells a story and crescendos, but it's these 7-11 songs, and I ain't gonna lie, Anthony, I'm tired of them.
Yeah, I understand that. I just think in this day and age of everybody moving fast, like you have a few seconds to hook people. It's like the TikTok music energy is that kind of algorithm is what works in music. So you're trying to hook people quick, and that's why you get 7-11 songs as opposed to these deep, long verses and all that stuff, which they work. But I know what you're talking about when it comes to the songs that are written.
And I dig some of them, don't get me wrong. But it just seems like that's the new formula now.
It's get 'em quick.
Especially in praise and worship.
Yes.
7 words, you repeat it 11 times, and everybody shouts. I mean, okay. if that's your thing, I ain't mad at
it's a formula that works for some.
It works for some, yeah.
You know?
I only got 2 minutes left here. I want to just say a word about this. I was going through this last night. Your book, When Faith Meets Therapy, which, as you know, the title itself is sacrilegious for some holy folk.
Yes.
Faith and therapy don't exist in the same sentence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless you're like me and you needed therapy to figure out ways. What you're talking about. I understand that for some people can get it. Like in math class growing up, there were people who could understand the formula, and then I needed tutoring to understand the formula. That's what it is. I'm not changing the book of truth. Like the math book was right, but I needed help understanding the formula. That's how I view therapy. Bibles, I'm not changing the Bible. I'm saying, how do I be anxious for nothing? Give me tools, because I can't just be anxious for nothing.
Yeah, there are a couple books Anthony's written, When Faith Meets Therapy, Unexpected Places. As I said, he's a chameleon. He's doing a little bit of everything. Yeah, okay, I got 45 seconds left. Give me some dates where people can actually see you, Anthony Evans.
February 19th, I will be in Raleigh, North Carolina with Mr. Chandler Moore. The 20th will be in Houston, and February 21st will be in Austin, Texas. These nights of worship, which are just I would just love being in the room because they're just amazing, authentic nights of worship.
Yep. What is the night? Just describe as best you can what a night of worship is like.
It is from top to bottom, nonstop, us moving through, whether it's classic worship songs or new worship songs, standards. We move through a night of worship, engaging an audience into experiencing what the Lord wants to do in their life specifically that night. Tell
your friends, Chandler Moore with Anthony Evans, Raleigh, North Carolina, February 19th, Houston, Texas, February 20th, Austin, Texas, February 21st. Again, the latest project from Anthony Evans is called Revive. Those books, When Faith Meets Therapy, Unexpected Places. An honor, sir, to have you on this program. Please give my warm regards to your mother and father.
I will for
Good
sure.
to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Alexandria Ikamoni with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Chinese tariffs on some American goods are in effect as of this morning, as President Trump continues to threaten trade wars with allies and rivals alike. Leaked government documents say large-scale immigration enforcement is coming to Los Angeles. While immigration enforcement has been ramped up across the country, no sweeping act has been taken in Los Angeles yet. All of the plane and military helicopter wreckage has been removed from the Potomac River following the recent mid-air collision near Washington, D.C. that left nearly 70 dead. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is temporarily shutting down live poultry markets after bird flu was detected in New York City. The Eagles are celebrating their second Super Bowl win in franchise history. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Lakers Nation is hoping tonight is the night Luka Doncic makes his debut in a Lakers uniform. The Lakers are at home against Utah. Doncic has not played since Christmas Day when he suffered a strained calf muscle. Ricky Dalton-Connect and Cam Reddish are back with the Lakers after the NBA rescinded the Lakers trade with Charlotte. Charlotte center Mark Williams failed the Lakers physical. The UCLA women's basketball team is 23-0 after their 62-52 win win Sunday at Oregon. Guard London Jones led UCLA with 21 points. Next up for the Bruins, ranked number 1 in the country, a Thursday night showdown at number 7 USC. The Philadelphia Eagles made sure the NFL does not have a three-peat Super Bowl champion. Philadelphia put a beatdown on the Kansas City Chiefs Sunday in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes was sacked 5 times. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd,